Yo guys, what is happening? Multiple games and welcome to another episode of the Minecraft Modded City Let's Play series. We're back here today and I'm very excited about today's video because we're actually going to be doing a world tour of the world that we've been working on here, which is super cool because I've got so many new builds going on here and I feel like I was kind of maybe losing a couple of you with all these new things that I was throwing at you every week. So I wanted to come on here today and literally go over everything. Now I'm not going to specifically talk about every single different build, like all the different buildings, and go into each house and show you those specifically because that will just take way too long, and I want to keep this video relatively short just so, you know, for your own entertainment and not to waste you guys' time showing it off every single interior or whatever. So we're gonna jump into things here and just sort of go through all the different neighborhoods of the city, some of the more important builds, and kind of take a look at everything. So like I said, I'm actually pretty excited about this because I haven't gone through and done this myself for a little while now. For example, we're in a part of the city here where we started off the entire world, where I haven't been for a long time. This is actually going to be, by the way, actually I should introduce this this whole city first of all and the sort of concept of what's going on here. It's supposed to be modeled after Los Angeles or more similarly to Los Santos and GTA, but there are a lot of major differences. It's by no means a one-to-one scale, but it definitely has its similarities. So I'm going to kind of go through each neighborhood and explain what that neighborhood would be in real life. And that's about it. And then we'll go through what we've built to kind of represent those areas. Anyway, we started out here in the middle of nowhere on the very northern tip of the map in what would be the bottom end of Malibu. So we've got a bunch of little beach houses going along here and just sort of, you know, the start of what would be a lot of beach houses along the Pacific Coast Highway. And this is sort of our own version of that in a way. We've got a nice little parking lot here, as well as a little bathroom stop for whoever was at the beach. And then the big beach right here, which kind of goes out. We've got a floating palm tree, which is what we use to copy and paste things. And then we've got some of the lower hills. There will be some much bigger hills with bigger houses as it kind of comes around and forms this peninsula going out that way. But we've got a couple little houses on the hills here and plenty more places to put houses. And that's about it for this neighborhood. So that's kind of the first area here that we start off in the map. And now we're just going to keep heading down the road. I'll give you guys a little tour of this road because I absolutely love it. And it goes down here for quite a ways around this mountain. And these mountains were all built with World Edit. If you go back to, I believe, episode 1 or 2, I actually showed how I made these mountains. Pretty straightforward. Nothing too complicated here. And they look a little World Edit-y. They're not quite finished yet, but I will go ahead and finish them all one day. We've got this cool little area where it kind of curves inland a little bit. And we come into, I suppose, what would be like the very top of Pacific Palisades in real Los Angeles. And here it's just a cool little beach town in our version. But we've got a bunch of really cool things going on here. Again, kind of stopped doing the work in this town when I moved into the proper city down there. But we have a whole bunch of really cool buildings hanging off on this cliff almost, just like so. These probably have to be built more into the side of the hill. But it's very kind of cliffy over here, and there's lots and lots of different houses going along. So you can see a couple of the major beach houses. We also have another layer of them down here. Some really steep roads to get around, but they all look pretty cool. This is supposed to be the little main drag. This is a motel to our right. There's not a lot of sidewalk space here. This is before I kind of have planned out all that stuff. But anyway, maybe a little bank or something right there. We've got a little store. We've got another store right there. On the other side here, there's a little restaurant with, again, just like a fantastic beach view and a little patio. We've got a couple different little shops over here. Another one right there. Lots being built. We've got a couple really cool houses out here too. Some beach houses. That one's quite cool with the big dome. This modern house, I really love the look of that one. I think it's just a spectacular build, so I'm very happy with how that one turned out. Then we've got a nice little Italian villa up here on the edge of the mountain. Just some really cool features, and that's sort of the you know, that's it for this little town. And then we come around and continue down the highway. So if we come around the Italian villa here, we enter into officially, I guess, again, this would probably be like officially Pacific Palisades in real Los Angeles. I'm not really sure. I'm not from there, so I don't know a lot about the town, but I am very inspired by the GTA map mainly to build this, so that's why I wanted to do that. I have been there a couple times in real life, so I do kind of know what I'm talking about. I've been to all these places for the most part that I'm building. Yeah, so I've been there a couple times. I know what I'm looking for, or what I'm sort of doing, but at the same time I don't live there, so I don't exactly know what the heck is going on. And again, it's just sort of our own version of it, so it's our own interpretation. We add what we want where we want it. So anyway, we enter in here to the first sort of intersection. This would be where Sunset Boulevard comes into the PCH. And if we follow down, continuing down this road here first, we can see a bunch more of these beach houses that kind of start as you enter into like Venice Beach area. We've got kind of the famous en route or the on-ramp that goes through in GTA. There'll be some bridges here going across to the beach. But this is that one that, you know, you always have the cars parked down. It's how you get on the highway. Then we have a couple really cool different houses here. Again, they're all set back onto the beach, and there'll be plenty more of them going down this street here. If we continue down here, though, and the entire way, we continue down the highway. We go off to our right here to the pier, which we'll check out in a second, but there's the big parking lot. But I just want to continue on this highway to show the tunnel, first of all, that you would go through again in Los Angeles or in GTA, specifically in Los Santos. But you'd be driving down here, and then you would exit out the other side and be into this kind of recessed highway, which is pretty cool. This is a 4-lane through here. And then it does end up expanding into a 6-lane just up here. We've got a couple off ramps that come down here. And then we enter into the bigger highway, which eventually tags up with the north-south highway. But yeah, we've got all that to check out, and we've got plenty here to look at. So what I want to do, I think, is start maybe down here south by the Santa Monica airport and then work our way up. Also, my idea is sort of to give everything their own right names here in whatever we decide to call this city. So this would be whatever, airport of this town. We might try to do a play on some of the real city names or some of the real area names, but for right now, I'm just sort of basing them off of the real names. This would be like the equivalent of the Santa Monica Airport. This is a very mini version, not to scale, obviously, but we have a couple hangars in there. We have a couple different planes and helicopters over here, and we have a little terminal as well as a fairly large runway. And I felt like this was just sort of enough space to take it up for that. If we head over here, we've got some very boring warehouses right there. That was a really bad zoom. There they are right there. We've got a parking garage. We've got this cool little shopping center, which I featured last episode, but it's got a nice little hotel here, as well as just a nice little strip to walk down with a bunch of random shops. And that's about all that's going on there. I'll continue down here. We've got another factory right underneath us. We've got another factory there, maybe a couple little mini office buildings here, and maybe a little shop on the right. We've got another factory right here and then another factory behind that. And this is supposed to be more of an industrial area, so that's kind of what I was going for there. If we head down past those shops again here, we can see where you sort of enter into the Venice Beach proper area or Santa Monica. And you kind of see the pier right there. And then we have a nice little warehouse factory here. And then we have a, nice little, I don't even know what these would be. Maybe little beach houses with some parking below. But they're just kind of a nice little feature here as you enter into the area between where the pier is and where the exit off the highway is. So that's sort of that. Then we've got a couple cool on and off ramps here. One thing that I really tried to focus on in this world was making everything really cool from eye level and not worrying too much about what it looked like from above, because generally speaking, in a real city, you're not really flying in from above a lot. So I tried to just make things look pretty cool from eye level. This off ramp is probably a little bit unrealistic because of how low this bridge comes. But anyway, it does its trick. It works. We do have a car mod in this, so we can actually drive cars around. But anyway, I'm wasting too much time here. We got to really get into things here and speed things up. I'll go down the next street here, and in fact, we'll start maybe at the pier. We'll go down here because we are in the Santa Monica kind of area. But we go down this road right here. It's not finished by any means, but it is a good work in progress. We have a nice little building there. We will probably have an entrance down into the main beach boardwalk area right here. The beach will go out to where the sand ends there. We have a bunch of different carnival games. There's a full video on this if you want to check it out on the channel. We also have a really cool roller coaster, a nice Ferris wheel, and then all the way down at the bottom here, we have a couple random buildings as well as kind of, the main end of the pier here. So that's kind of what we got going on for that. Also, there's a quick look at from the side, so you can see all the different posts holding the pier up, except for the end there, which doesn't have any yet. But anyway, there's a pretty good look at the work in progress pier. I'm already almost 10 minutes into recording this, so we better hurry things up. We've got a casino on our left here. Again, not realistic probably to the real area here, but I just want to throw in some cool skyscrapers along the water because I felt like they would look cool. We've got a nice little hotel over here. We've got what would be a big surf shop. We've got a parking garage again, and maybe what would be like a Starbucks or something. I'm not really sure. But that's got a little parking lot, another little store right there. Also, I apologize for the lag. We're kind of having trouble rendering things right now. The computer's working at full here, trying to record and render this with shaders on, but I really wanted to have shaders on for the tour. So you might have to excuse a little bit of the sort of, choppiness, if you will, but it definitely makes for a much cooler looking city. So I wanted to go ahead and add that for this video. All right, so coming off of that kind of Starbucks, maybe not Starbucks coffee shop, we enter into this little plaza on our right here. This has maybe a little pizza restaurant or some sort of Italian restaurant, as well as a couple other little stores, including NEB Games, because we had to add that. I felt like that was appropriate. So there's a nice little signage there. And again, not realistic to real life, but we just added that there because, I don't know, adds a little bit of realism, I suppose. We've got a nice little office building on this side. We've got another one on the right. We have a nice little motel here on the left, and that goes back to the casino. And there's a modern condominium right here. If we continue down the street on our left, we have a Taco Bell because, again, just trying to add some realism there. And I kind of got bored one day, and I decided to build all these real brand name stores and see how accurate I could do a job on them. This one does have a little interior and whatnot with some pretty cool stuff going on. But again, I don't want to waste too much time there, but we do have a nice little Taco Bell with a drive-through. Another green little shop here or whatever. Maybe it's a little warehouse or whatever it might be. Over here behind the EB Games, we have a big parking lot with the Walmart. This is another project that I was working on the last couple days, and I think it turned out looking pretty good. It does have, you know, the nice blue roof, kind of classic. The McDonald's logo on the front there. It's got the greenhouse section on the back. The parking lot's probably a little bit too small if we're being realistic, but I don't know. I felt like it was a good use of that space there, and it does a nice job for sure. This will probably be some sort of grocery store here across the street in this plaza, and there's a bunch more little stores without anything going on there yet. If we come down, where should I go now? Behind the Taco Bell, there's a nice car dealership parking, or not parking, but sitting right here. And that's where, you know, you'd buy your cars and some automobiles in there and whatnot. Down this street here, we have a nice little plaza with, again, a couple more shops. We've got this sort of maybe museum, maybe like weird little historic building. I'm not really sure, but I wanted to build it there with a dormer, and now it's just sort of like a vault kind of thing. I don't know. And then we've got a nice little office tower here. But anyway, that's what was on that street. On the left here, a nice little store with a very small parking lot. We've got a little factory here with some, you know, gravel lot or whatever, and then another factory right there. Quite like the look of that factory. But anyway, that's what's going on there. And again, I realized here that I should have probably left a little bit more room for sidewalks, but I felt like this would be a place where people would mainly be on cars and not on foot. So I left it all pretty tight. But anyway, we've got another big warehouse right across the street here. And on the other side here, and wow, that lag, it's just getting worse, I think, as this is going on. But it's loading a lot, so we gotta bear with it here. I'm almost tempted to actually turn off shaders here, but no, we've got a really nice resort right here. There's 2 buildings to it, and then a nice middle area here with a pool, a hot tub, a nice slide, and that's about it. And then we've got these kind of white buildings that you see if you're entering off the PCH. I think they're like condos in real life or apartments, but that's where those are right there. And then we've got a parking garage. We've got a couple different townhouses and different units along here. And then if we come over here, we got some more factories. We got a bank on the left. We've got a couple more factories over there. We've got our first look at one of the residential neighborhoods here with a very few houses, but there will be plenty more of these going on along the entire town. So this is sort of a nice look at what they might look like. A couple more houses going on over there. One that's still a work in progress. I just started that one the other day. And also, by the way, that new gated area over there will be part of a big movie studio that I'm building. So that'll be a lot of fun as well. But that's coming in probably a future episode here. Right here, this red building right here is kind of a drugstore. It's got a nice little parking lot on the top. Then we have a bank right next to it. And again, we've done a lot of these nice little street decals here because this is the first sort of main little town that you enter into. If we go along the street here, you can kind of see I did a whole video on this last episode, so I'm not going to show too much, but I'm going to quickly fly by. You can watch that video if you want to see more about this little town. But it's got plenty of little stores. It's supposed to be sort of like the Palisades village. There's a Subway there. We've got lots and lots of little shops and whatnot. And then we've got over here, we've got a whole little area. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I had to turn the shaders off. It was just lagging out way too much. But anyway, we've got this nice little area up here that kind of goes around and follows the mountain and has a bunch more stores. Anyway, now look at this. We can kind of look around. Things are still loading in. But anyway, this is much better. So thank goodness. I was going to go nuts. This road right here, we're going back down what would be... This would technically be Sunset Boulevard, I guess, in real Los Angeles. But anyway, we've got a little plaza there. We've got a couple different houses along the side here, a gas station, more and more houses. This is a little resort / hotel area over here. This is the initial intersection that we entered into at the beginning of the video when we first came into the town. Now I'm just going to do a quick flyby of the hills here, and you can see some of the cool houses. This is a very cool modern one here on the end. These two have some very nice water views. But then we have a whole bunch of houses going along here. Some of my favorites I might just show you real quick. This is notably one of my favorites. Kind of this cool design for a modern house. We've got a whole bunch coming up here, and there's still lots of work that has to be done in this area, but we are making some good progress. There's more houses back here, way back in the hills. These hills will be built up quite a bit more as well and kind of start to curve off into the valley on the other side. We've got this house right here, which is one of my favorites. It has its own video featuring it. I think it's called like the $7 million Minecraft house or something like that. You can check that video out on the channel. And then we have more and more houses as we enter in over here. Some pretty big ones as well. Some ones that are kind of out on the point, like that one. I quite like that one. And then we kind of get into some bigger houses as we enter into this area over here. And this is sort of where the houses start on Sunset Boulevard as well, at least some of the bigger ones. And they will kind of continue all around the corner here and make up for a lot of the cool mansions that we're going to see in this world. This one actually I just built the other day, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. Got a nice little carport on the left there, and then an entryway in the upper area like so. So I like how that one looks quite a bit, and it's got kind of this cool angled roof as well going on, looking out at the, at I guess just the view. But yeah, very happy with that. If we move down Sunset Boulevard a little bit more here, we have, first of all, a lot of unfinished land. This is kind of the first look at what you can see. That's what I'm working on for the next couple of weeks here. But anyway, right up here we have the Observatory, or actually the Getty, technically, I believe is what this is based on. And I'm quite happy with how this one turned out. Again, there's a whole video on it, so I highly recommend that you go and check it out. But a quick overview shows kind of the layout there, and it's also got the monorail track that goes all the way down to the parking garage and the 404. I believe it's the 404 in real Los Angeles, the highway here that goes along. And you can get some good views of it up the monorail, and you can see into it, and that's sort of that. Then we've got the really high-end neighborhood here, which is kind of representing, I guess, like where Bel Air starts, I suppose. But we've got quite a few houses up on the hills here. We've got really big ones, and this is where Sunset crosses underneath the 404. Also, I'm meaning to put in the university somewhere in here. I gotta find a spot for it, but we will find a place for it heading south, probably up here a little bit more. Anyway, what do we have here? We have a whole bunch of really cool big houses. I'm just gonna sort of again fly by them. A lot of these have their own videos, some of them do not. But there's a lot of detail going on here, at least what I'm trying to do. There's also the start of Century City down here, and we have a nice office building over here, as well as a nice condo. And then if we head back over here, we've got, again, some more houses. Again, I've been working on these like crazy, trying to develop this whole neighborhood. We've got that one there. We've got this one right here. Some of these are not, really LA style, but I just felt like building them, so I put them here. Anyway, on our right here, we have one of the biggest houses, which was toured, I think, a couple episodes ago. A very nice one as well. I won't go in because, again, it just takes too much time. This one definitely has a tour that came out the other day. This is another pretty large one with some nice columns here on the front. And if you look here from the actual road, you can't see most of these houses because of the trees and the gates, which is what I really like about this area. We have these two houses here. Heading back up on the hill, we have a really cool modern house, which has, again, its own video with a nice pool, kind of comes out here. We have that one, which I already showed you, looking out at the highway. This one has a tennis court even. We've got one of the big modern houses over here with a helicopter. And what else? I mean, that's really all that's going on. This is a work in progress currently. Oh, this was the one that I just actually built the other day. A nice modern house down here, which is kind of, again, in the works. It's taking up most of the lot. And I guess the university is actually going to start probably right in this lot here. I believe this hill comes down somewhere else. Maybe not, but yeah, that is where the university is going to start, right here. Anyway, one last thing in this area is, first of all, I was building this huge hill over the last couple weeks, and it was been a pretty big project, but I finally got it finished up for the most part. And this will be the rest of most of like the Bel Air high-end houses. But we also have this really nice house up here that I was working on, which I'm very happy with, like a very traditional sort of brick house with a nice coach house and garage. And it's also got a nice tennis court. But yeah, that's all for that house right now, and that might actually be all for the entire map. Let me do a quick fly around, see what we missed, but I think that's basically it. Yeah, so actually that is everything in the map, basically. It actually seemed a little bit shorter than I thought it would have been. I thought there were a lot more builds, but anyway, that's all we've built so far. So we've got lots and lots of work still to go, but that does give you a pretty good idea. First of all, this area here should give you a pretty good idea of the detail or the level of sort of buildings that we're doing, because this is sort of what we're going for over the entire city. With the exception of a couple places still needing some more trees and whatnot. But this gives you a pretty good rough idea of what we're going to be looking to finish up here and do for the rest of the world. I'm very excited about it overall, though, because we have a ton of really cool builds still coming. I want to do like kind of a Marina del Rey thing down there, as well as the airport. And that's going to be an actual full-sized huge airport. I also want to do like the Rodeo Drive kind of area in Beverly Hills. I want to do sort of like a ghetto area as well, most likely, and sort of the whole thing, and make a miniature scale version of the real city, which I think could be really cool. So I'm looking forward to that for sure. But this sort of gives you a good idea of what we've done so far, what we've accomplished. And if you're new here on the channel and you're looking to kind of join in on this series, hopefully you can kind of figure out what we've done so far and where we left off. I haven't done a tour of this world yet, so I'm quite excited to post this one. And hopefully you guys, got some entertainment out of that, and maybe even got some inspiration for some builds. Anyway, guys, with that all being said, I am going to end today's video there. Again, if you guys did enjoy it, please remember to go below, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys all in the next video.